Hello everyone, guys, girls, friends, families, haters, dogs, cats, gerbils, kids in the back of the car, and the people on the bus hearing this when you accidentally play out loud. I'm Rach.
And I'm Faith. Welcome to the Is It Normal podcast.
We love it that you're here. Episode 3, baby. We're back.
We're back.
Better than ever.
We are back.
Actually, we're really not better than ever. We should preface this episode by saying we both had really difficult and challenging days. So if the vibes are not what they should be, don't hate us.
Long days.
Yeah.
Long days.
Yeah. And we'd also like to preface that we are aware of previous recordings. We will now be laughing away from the microphone, and I will speak into the microphone when I'm being serious. I do apologise for the roller coaster of volume level that was the previous episode.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Also, speaking of previous episodes, we were thinking about going through the polls.
Yep.
So yeah, take it away.
So episode 1 is the one that we can actually look at the polls for today. So, episode 1's poll was, do you hate introducing yourself? The options were I thrive, I vomit, both, and neither. Oh, I should say this is on Spotify, by the way.
Yes.
And 50% of you said both. So you thrive and you vomit, which I think is kind of the conclusion we came to, right?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
And I think we would still maintain that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's what I would have voted for sure. 25% of you said I vomit, and then 12.5% said neither and I thrive. So definitely having feelings about it is definitely the majority.
Yes.
Like
so
one way or the other.
It is normal.
Yes. To hate introducing yourself. Because people that said I vomit and both, that's 75% of people.
Yeah.
So there is an element of hating introducing themselves. So like that is the majority.
Yeah. And also again, depends on context, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Absolutely. Sweet. There is obviously episode 2's out and's got a poll, so go check that out, do the little thing, and this one will have one as well, I do suppose. It's probably going to be a thing, I think we've just decided.
Yeah,
well,
why not?
Immediately just did then, so now we're doing it. Was there any other... I guess we'll just go into show and tell.
Let's do it. It's kind of hard to actually show. Oh, I wonder, we could probably put a photo on the video if you're watching the video version.
And if you're not watching the video version, then we'll put it on our Instagram.
Yeah.
Because we have more than 3 followers. So now we're here for life, baby. Yeah. There's no getting rid of us now.
You are stuck
Loud
with
laugh
us.
or not.
Basically, well, I guess I'll just tell you a little, it's not a story, but in where I near where I work, there's a little park, and sometimes where I park to get to work, I have to walk through the park, and there are really pretty trees in the park, and they've got like pink flowers on them. I don't know, is it? I'm gonna fact check. But they are just they're just so beautiful, and the pink is really like vibrant. And I guess because recently like the weather's been really nice, hasn't it? So like against like a really bright blue sky, I just love like the colours together.
Beautiful.
Is it cherry blossom? I don't know my trees, clearly.
I don't know my trees.
I don't know what they are. They are really pretty though. But like I said, I've got photos of the actual ones that I see in the park. So I can't. So it's not like obviously I couldn't bring a tree, could I? But
which I'm quite frankly devastated by. And I expect better.
A tree.
I expect
next
more,
week.
I expect better.
But yeah, they're just really cute. And I think the nice thing is that like because lots of us walk through that park, like. It's like a yearly thing. We see the blossoms in the spring, and so it's become a bit of a thing in work. We're like, oh, the pink blossoms are out. Like it's just quite cute.
That's cute.
Yeah, so just like spring joy, I guess. That's my show and tell. What about you?
Oh, that's really cute. Can your phones? So this one is a bit more like intense.
Okay.
Probably in line with the kind of day that we've had. It's like a thread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
therapist paused, looked at me and said, "You learn to abandon yourself before anyone else could." That sentence shattered something in me, and then we kept going. What I heard next, and I still think about every time I choose silence over honesty. 1. You apologise too much because you were taught your needs were an inconvenience. 2. You mistake overthinking for awareness. It's actually hypervigilance. 3. You're not low maintenance. You're just scared asking for more will make people leave. 4. You learned how to not need anyone, and now you don't know how to let anyone love you. 5. You say, "It's fine" out loud while your body screams in every way but words. 6. You call it independence, but deep down it feels like abandonment. Healing doesn't just make you aware, it makes you accountable to the parts of you that you keep shrinking to stay safe. That lump in your throat, that's unspoken truth. Write it.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a bit intense for an intro. Can't lie.
Is there anything in particular that made you like particularly pay attention to that, or?
I think that part where it said that lump in your throat,
Yeah.
and like at the end,
Yeah.
and then you like connect to your body, don't you? You're like, oh, I have got a lump in my throat.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot there about like independence. And
Yeah.
I think like that probably struck a bit of a chord.
Yeah. It's such a hard line to walk, that though, isn't it? Independence. Yeah. What is independence? What is not being able to rely on other people?
And it just so happens that our question today is also quite a hard line to walk.
Yeah.
So, what is our question, Faith?
Our question is it normal to not know when to rest versus when to work?
Yeah.
So I guess it's probably helpful if we give some kind of context as
Yes.
like where this question even comes from in the first place.
Yes. Do you remember?
No. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
First time ever remembering anything. So I think we were kind of, or the gist of it at least.
That's, yeah, cool.
It was kind of more related towards like gym stuff.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, what is, oh, I can't be bothered to go to the gym tonight. Like, screw this. I'm knackered. I'm like gonna watch TV instead.
Yeah.
Versus, I'm really exhausted, but I'm gonna push myself. I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
And then, so that's kind of like, there's this balance between, or this fight between what is self-care and what is pushing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And like, where does that balance strike, basically?
Yeah.
How do you get that balance?
Yeah.
How do you figure out what you actually need?
Yeah.
I, for example, if someone asks me like, what do you want? Or what do you need? I'm like, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I genuinely can't tell you what I want in this moment or what's best for me. So yeah, that's kind of when the question stems from. Was more of like a physical thing.
Yeah.
And then like, actually is, you know, self-care Sunday, face masks, bath, actually self-care? Or is it tidying the doom pile, you know, that you've got in your house? Or is it reconnecting with nature, kind of like talking about the different ways, because everyone's rest looks so different. So there are like a couple of things maybe we could tackle and think about. We don't think about these episodes before we record them.
It's just a chat, isn't it?
It's just a chat with mates. So there's no points, there's no questions, it's just like, here's the thing, is it normal if you don't know when to rest versus when to work? And I think from the conversations I've had with friends and work colleagues and all the rest of it, I would say, I think that is normal.
I think it's normal. I think you've hit on a really useful point there, though, of like, is it not knowing when to rest and when to work, or is it not knowing what you need? Do you know what I mean?
Or how you'll feel about the outcome.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if I'm going to go to the gym and that's going to be a step too far for my week. And now I'm like going to then have a late night and it's going to push that, and I'm going to be exhausted, and then I have to shower as well. So then, and then tomorrow I'm going to have like an hour less sleep, and that's going to exhaust me the rest of the week. Or am I going to go feel really good get back on track, and it'll like push me to have a great week.
Yeah.
You don't know the outcome, do you, sometimes?
Yeah.
So how do you predict the future, Faith? Please let us know.
Yeah. No, I think it's really tricky. I guess it's helpful to draw it away from a gym context as well, to kind of open it up a little
That's
bit.
very true.
Because also it could be
Social stuff.
It could be, when do I do the dishes and hoover the house and whatever, tidy up, / when do I just sit on the sofa and let myself just nap or watch TV or read a book, even though there are jobs to be done, right? And I think like, I guess people probably have a tendency one way or the other, where they either maybe choose the easier option because it feels easier, even though it might not actually be easier, because you might be putting off jobs that would make life a lot more pleasant if you were to do them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I think other people probably go the other way and always focus on the jobs, always focus on the tasks, and miss an opportunity to give themselves a bit of space to rest. And I think, and also I guess probably, I'm thinking about it and I'm not sure I would fall in either of those categories that neatly. I probably do both, like fairly regularly, in different contexts.
So how do you know what you need?
I don't. I think there's an element of, you just have to learn, don't you, over time. It takes time to learn what you need in different situations. And I think that, and I'm not saying that as in like, I've got it all figured out and now I know. I don't know, but I know that it's something I need to learn, if that makes sense. Because I think even that, it's easy to just choose one or the other, and then kind of be like, oh, that didn't work, or oh, that worked, and always like not take note of the outcome and how it made you feel. Whereas like, so like this week, I've noticed, or over the last couple of weeks probably, I've noticed myself getting like a bit antsy sometimes at the end of the day, and my initial reaction is I just want to like chill, because I almost interpret it as like needing to rest, because I'm feeling like busy, if that makes sense.
Like brain busy?
Like brain and body, like I'm just a bit antsy, I don't know.
Uneasy.
But what actually does help me is moving. So if I feel like that, actually if I get out and go for a run, it gets all that energy out. Whether it's because it doesn't necessarily feel like positive, it kind of feels like I just feel a bit antsy. So
unsettled.
So I think like, but now I've learnt that. So now I know in the future when I feel that way, I need to move my body. Not, even though my initial reaction is, I want to sit on the sofa and do nothing for an hour. And I guess that's my point about like, you have to learn and pay attention to what you're learning. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just going through life choosing one and being like, oh, that didn't work, or whatever.
Because I think like one of the things I've learned is, so I would consider myself like an introvert. So if I've spent time with people, I need time on my own then to like, even if that is like scrolling on my phone or like doing some colouring or like just being quiet on my own. It's really important for me to like recharge. But for example, I do like, I help like with a youth like club, I guess you'd call it, like on a Friday night. And that's like the end of my week. I'm like done. I'm drained, I'm exhausted, I just want to like, I'm done. But I then have to go and like entertain or chat to and hang out with, which I love doing, I'm really passionate about, 30 plus kids, teenagers. And like every time going there, I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I feel like, oh. And then I get there, and I'm like, I love these guys. Like, and I get hyped up, and like I'm so in the moment then, and this energy then comes. So I never, like, if I relied on feelings alone, I would cancel every week. Every week I'd be like, I'm too tired, I'm not coming. My feelings are telling me I'm too tired. But I have this balance of, but there's duty as well, and there's obligation, and there's people rely on
it's responsibility,
you.
isn't
responsibility.
We're using quite broad terms, aren't we? Because I guess work, we're talking about doing something that's a little bit uncomfortable, that is either a responsibility or something that you've told yourself you're going to do some kind of form of
because
like,
I would consider social engagement.
It's like it's busyness, isn't it? It's doing a thing. So
it's
whether
not
that's
free time.
Yeah. So whether that's like a gym routine or social life or like a hobby that you've got that you've like promised yourself to do, or do you know what I mean? Something like that. And I guess we're classing rest as like not doing those things, maybe like slightly easier options. Because I guess this is the question, isn't it? Because in a way, the time that you spend with the youth restores something in you. Do you know what I mean? So it's not rest, but it is still like, it can still be restorative. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like that with like running on the gym or whatever. It feels like work until I do it, and then it feels like, oh yeah, actually this does something for me that is more beneficial and deeper than sitting on the sofa. And I guess this is where we have to be careful that we're not using this conversation to be like, oh yeah, rest is like scrolling TikTok and binging Netflix.
Yeah,
that's not rest,
no,
is it?
I don't
like,
think it is. Well, everyone's different.
It can be rest, but it's not. That's not a complete definition.
And
of
I
rest.
also think if that's like every day and you're choosing that over other things, that's not going to fulfill you.
Yeah.
So like, you know, if it's like once in a while, or if it's like for a bit after, like, so for example for me, I would scroll for a little bit after like a social event maybe, or like just when I get home from work, or if I haven't decided what I'm going to do in the evening. But I know I'm not touching it if I've got plans. Like I know I'm not going to be able to scroll or watch anything if I've got plans. Whereas if I say I want to rest in an evening, I will put a comfort show on and then do colouring. Yeah. And I find colouring really mindful. Yeah. Like that's something that takes me out of the spiral. Whereas I know if I went home and I was on my phone and watching something all night, I would feel so much worse than
for sure.
Like anything else.
Yeah.
And I guess it's kind of like what quiets the voices in your head. Maybe not everyone has voices in their head. That might just be an us thing.
Is it normal?
I don't know. But it's like what calms your nervous system. Yeah. I guess to me rest would be what calms your nervous system. Yeah. And for me that is hanging out with people that I don't need a social battery around. That we can just sit in the same room and I don't know, read a book or something. Like we don't have to like I don't have to think like, oh, what am I going to say next to them, or like, you know, we'll just go for a coffee and sit politely and chat. Like that's not rest to me. So them kind of social engagements are not rest to me. But having a friend where I don't need any social battery, that's rest. Yeah. I don't care what we're doing. Like we could be doing a Tesco's food shop, we could be on a walk, like it doesn't matter. Yeah. I've got my buddy with me, do you know what I mean? So I think for me, by the way, going into a segment of what does rest mean to you. Come along. Yeah.
If you hadn't already.
Yeah. So I literally forgot what I've already said. What did I say?
About rest calming.
Yeah, so calms you, like something that calms my nervous system. So that would be like colouring's quite like a mindful thing for me. Yeah. Quiets my brain a bit. Spending time with friends I don't need a social battery for. And that would include like family. Reading would be one. I do like doing like, you know, like tasks around the house. Like, you know, if I complete a task, I do feel good. That's not really rest. This is actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Right, scratch all that.
I think rest is... I think sometimes we assume that rest is like straightforward. And I think that the reality is these days with social media and like don't people call it like the attention economy, like attention is what people are fighting for, in terms of like your attention is what people are buying basically. And because of that means that everything is addictive in terms of like social media and all that kind of stuff. And I think that means that it maybe is harder to access actual genuine rest, because I think for me I don't always feel like what is actually restful for me isn't always easy to access. So things like having my phone, like you're saying, having my phone away, having a comfort show on, doing some, for me, like I sometimes like crochet is quite mindful for me because it's quite repetitive. So like doing something like that, but with no distractions, of just being in that space, that's not necessarily easy because my phone is addictive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I guess the point I'm making is just that, like, I think sometimes rest equals, in our subconscious, it's almost like rest is being lazy, or rest is doing something that feels kind of lazy. Do you know what I mean? Whereas actually rest can be quite active.
Yeah.
Rest can be
like, actually sometimes you have to fight for rest.
yeah
is what you're saying, isn't
exactly.
it? Like, you have to prioritise that.
Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned the word lazy. So like, I basically went through my whole life never being able to like kind of rest in any way, or any time I was resting, which to me was like sitting down, I would feel guilty. I'm gonna say it stems from our childhood, because what doesn't? But the fear of being called lazy meant that like I couldn't sit down. So like when I used to be like a nurse or something, and I do 12-hour, 13-hour shifts, like the guilt of sitting down. So even if it was like a night shift, it's 3 a.m, like I'd still like stand at the I'd stand at the desk or something, because there was always this thing of like, rest is lazy. You're lazy if you are working at max all of the time. And I think there's that balance you were talking about earlier of some people go towards the I'm gonna be max here because I don't want to be perceived as lazy. So like in work, I think that's quite like a common thing of, or schoolwork, like whatever, you know, whatever age people are listening, like you push yourself so much because you don't want to be perceived as lazy. Whereas now my definition of rest has changed. And I don't feel guilty for it anymore. Like, and that's been quite a long journey. But I still struggle. So like, obviously, because you know, when I'm on my own, that's obviously quite easy because no one's there to observe me resting. Whereas like if I'm at someone's house and they're cooking, I feel like I have to be doing like something, or like if I'm at my brother's and the kids are there and that, like I have to be, I always have to be doing something to be useful. Because like, God forbid I just sit there and do nothing, because I don't want to be perceived as lazy.
And that's interesting, isn't it? Because it kind of does link into this like toxic productivity. I know that's like a bit of a buzz phrase thing,
but it's a buzz phrase because
it's a thing. Exactly. Exactly. And I guess like that's the one side of the extreme, isn't it? That you have to, that your value is in being productive.
And like hobbies, I would always obviously I always have like 20,000 hobbies on the go, and I remember someone being like, oh, you could sell that on Etsy, or you could make a business out of that, or you could like, hey, let me just have a hobby that I do it because I enjoy it. And I guess that's another thing, like that perfectionism can then come into it of like, I can't just do a doodle and it be bad for the sake of mindfulness. I have to like, I literally sent you something earlier that was like, how do I journal, like what was it? It was like, how do I journal
without worrying about whether my journal thinks I'm cool. I saw that.
I was
so
like, because journal's resting, right? But there's always this like, I want to think I'm cool. That's another form of rest, I think, isn't it? I guess processing is like restful to me, when I can have a space to be like, right, these are my thoughts, this is what I think about that. Or like counselling, I guess, for me then, because I'm a verbal processor, is really helpful. That's how I get my like brain rest, because brain and body rest are different, aren't they? Like if I'm sick, I probably need to take time to be in bed, versus if my brain's going 1,000 miles an hour, I need to go and do something about that. And they're both rest. Again, one's fighting for it and one's sitting with it. What do you think, so you know how you were talking about toxic productivity, how do you think someone would know if they were like venturing towards that?
I think when not doing something is like not an option. where it's almost like I can't face the idea. Like if like say it's like let's take the gym example.
Yeah.
It's late at
It's an
night.
easy one. Yeah.
You've planned to do a gym session, but you've like put it off a little bit. You're really tired. You've got a meeting first thing in the morning that you've got to do a little bit of prep for. You've got to be in work early. I don't know, something like that. In that scenario, the idea of not going to the gym and just going to bed, if that feels like it's not even on the cards, then I think maybe that's where it's like we've just got to be flexible with ourselves, don't we? Like we have to. There has to be grace and space to flex with emotions and needs across a week. Or I guess like I don't know if that's a very good example because
I think it is
because there is also discipline, isn't there?
How can you make sure that your mental and your physical is aligned? So like with that going to the gym thing, if you're then going to be super tired, super stressed, you're taking a hit mentally. So say physically it's a good thing. Say physically like going to the gym is a good thing, but you're taking a hit mentally. Yeah. So physical is going up. Okay, let's imagine we're a Sims character. I find this really helpful. Like, sorry if no one's watched The Sims, not played The Sims, but if you imagine you're a Sims character and they have all the things, don't they? Like food, sleep, social, something, I don't know. And if it's green, it's high, you're looking after that sim really well, you're maintaining their food intake, you're maintaining their social input, like, and if it's red, it's really unhealthy. And I think that choice of going to the gym makes physical green, but it makes mental really red. Because you're also probably bullying yourself a bit in that. Yeah. Like, this isn't an option. You shouldn't have left it so late. You're stupid for leaving it so late. Now I'm gonna have to like not sleep as well. Cheers to that one. So like there's gonna be like a mental impact in that. Yeah. And that like you kind of at the very least want them both amber. Yeah. Because I think if one's in the green and one's in the red, you probably then have to assess I'm maybe not making very wise choices. And also in this particular like scene, if you like, that we're talking about, scenario, okay, you're going to the gym, so that makes physical better, but then if you're losing sleep and then you're being stressed, that's not good for your body. Yeah, cortisol's not off-brand. So like in some scenarios. It almost like that benefit almost like cancels itself out, doesn't it, in a way? So and and obviously that's not like, I think this is the thing, isn't it? It's not black and white. It's not. And also then what's your motive in that? Yeah. Yeah. Because if your motive is I have to go to the gym to look a certain way, well, who are you doing that for? Like, you know, it all goes back to roots, doesn't it? Like, what's the root of the fact you have to go to the gym? Yeah. Or like, what's the root of you have to get an A star in your GCSEs? Or what's the root of you have to do really well in that work presentation? Like, what are the roots that are causing you to push yourself to them red zones, basically? And I think this is where there's also an element of, more broadly in this whole topic, of showing up for yourself, even when you don't necessarily, because I think we are a very emotion led society, aren't we, where we do what we feel like, and I don't think that's always healthy. No. Because do I feel like eating healthy food and moving my body? No, not really. Do you know what I mean? Like, because those things take a long time to, like I said right at the start, to learn the value of, and then to know, actually in the long run, this does make me feel good. Yeah. This is beneficial for me. And I think that's, for me, that's where discipline is like a really key thing. If me pushing myself to go to the gym, even though it is a little bit later than I would ideally go, and I have been putting it off a little bit, let's not pretend it's the same scenario, forget that it impacts tomorrow or whatever. If that's me showing up for myself because I promised myself that I would do it, then for me that is the right choice. Or not always, but it can be the right choice. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's where there's a real skill to walking that line and learning what is it that I actually need in that moment. Because I think that's the other thing. If we promise ourselves stuff
over and over again. Like, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to eat healthy. Those are just examples that I think of a lot and like have experience of. Those aren't the only ways that this works itself out. If we're constantly promising ourselves that we're going to do those things and then we never do them, we're teaching ourselves to not trust ourselves. So we're reinforcing in our own head, aren't we, that I never do what I say I'm going to do. I don't show up for myself, and I actually kind of don't really care. If you promised someone else that you'd show up for a really important, meaningful day for them, like a best friend, right? You're not going to back out of that. So why would you do that to yourself? And I think that's where, for me, that's the positive of like pushing yourself to do hard things even though you don't necessarily feel like it, because you teach yourself, I show up for myself. I care about the things that I promise myself I'm going to do, and I do want what's best for me, because you build over time, then you build that evidence that then when it comes to hard decisions or it comes to hard moments, you look back at your evidence and you go, no, I am the kind of person that shows up for myself, so I'm going to repeat that behaviour. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I am the type of person that can do difficult things. Yeah. That can do hard things. Yeah. And the hard things get easier.
And that could be rest or work.
Yeah. Some people really have to push themselves to rest.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In so many different ways.
And sometimes, and like we were saying, sometimes rest isn't easily accessible. So it could be choosing to put my phone away and choosing to not worry about the dishes that I haven't done or whatever, and choosing to go and take a nap or whatever that might be. And it could also be choosing to go and see friends and be honest and open with your friends.
Because if you've got like social plans and it's that whole thing of like you don't want to cancel on them, but like I've had friends before where I've been like, hey, I can't sit in a restaurant tonight, like I'm so overwhelmed or overstimulated or like so whatever it may be, like I just can't do a social situation where I have to be polite and look nice and dress up and whatever. Can we just hang out? Like can you just come here or I'll come to you? And that kind of like, I know we talked about honesty quite a lot like last episode. So that thing of like just being really honest with the people that you love and that love you, instead of trying like so still showing up for your friends, still like pushing yourself to show up and be accountable to your word, but in the same breath doing it in a way that you're not fake or forcing that. So like I know that's not always easy to do like or to accommodate, but if it's just like a hanging out session, like can we just do that somewhere where I don't have to be a certain version of myself. For me, like hanging out with certain people is rest.
Definitely.
Hanging out with certain other people is the opposite. It drains all my resources.
No, 100%. It is a tricky topic, isn't it? Because there's so many elements, and again, I know we talked about this in probably all of the episodes, but like it is so contextual to not only like the actual literal scenario that you're in, but also who you are as a person and what your tendencies are, and like what you find hard and what you find easy, and like how you rest, and do you know what I mean? Like it's so dependent on so many variables, and I think even that in itself speaks to, yes, it is really normal to not know, because there's so much variety. It could look so different, and it could look really different today for me or you versus tomorrow for me or you, because the situation today versus tomorrow could be completely different, and our moods could be completely different, and like this, do you know what I mean? It's just so many moving parts that makes it almost impossible to have like a copy and paste answer all the time.
And let's use like staying home as an example. So like there's a social event or whatever, or I don't know, like an acquaintance is doing a thing, or it's like it's not a one-on-one situation, but it's kind of just like a vague thing at maybe you've got like a hobby club or a running club or like a crochet club. I don't know what kind of clubs people are into. But there's like a social or something on, and no one's like depending on you. It's just like a social event. And I think for me it's like, what voice is in my head in that moment? Is it like I I know you're tired, babe, but come on, let's go. You'll have fun in the end. Like, you'll get some energy. You'll have a good time.
Yeah.
Or is it, oh, you're gonna let everyone down if you don't go? Like, if you don't go, you're just like, you're someone who just doesn't even show up for people. Like, what are you doing? Like, be better. This is so lazy. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You know, like, what kind of...
What's the tone?
Yeah, for me, I think I know what to do based on the tone of voice in my head. So, like, again, I'm just going to use a gym example, it's just the easiest. But if in my head, it's like, come on, babe, you can do it. Like, I know you don't want to, but just start something easy, see how you feel. You don't have to do an hour and a half session. Like, we can just walk on the treadmill if we need to. So I think that's my kind of like, can we just go to that social event for a little bit, or can we just do a little bit of that thing and then assess how you're feeling and then make a choice when you're actually there. So like, that's one way I kind of like combat it, is to be like, right, what is the voice in my head, or what is the tone of voice in my head? Is it caring and kind? And like, actually, Rach, like, you've got a sore throat, you're getting a bit ill, you have to get up for work early in the morning, like, you can leave this gym session out. Like, that's okay. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Let's like have some lemon sip and go to bed. So is that the voice in my head? Or is the voice in my head saying, I don't want to go to the gym session, like, so take away the illness. I don't want to go to the gym session, I'm tired, I'm like, I just want to mooch out. I can't be bothered, basically. Like, they're very two different voices. So I'll listen to the one that says like, babes, you're unwell, come on now. Versus the one of like, I can't be arsed. Like, that's two different situations, isn't it? So one, listening to the tone of voice in my head and like what the motive is behind cancelling a plan or doing a plan. Then you've got, actually, maybe I could just go for a little bit. You know, I can like feel it out.
Kind of almost like exploring it as an option. That is choosing to not listen to an all or nothing mindset.
Yes.
Right? Because the all or nothing mindset says, we either go and do a 2-hour workout, or I'm going to stay home and slob on the couch and eat an entire Easter egg in one sitting.
I'm a real fan.
I'm saying that from experience.
I'm a real fan of that space in between there.
Showing up and doing a little bit, seeing how you feel, taking it from there.
Okay, I don't need to go on a 3-hour hike. Let me just start walking and see what happens.
Do you think that your tendency is to go towards an all or nothing mindset? Is that something you have to actively choose to not do?
No, I wouldn't say so, actually.
Okay.
Possibly in the past, but not lately. So like, say for example, like, say I was like trying to eat healthier and I had like a bad day, or like quote unquote bad day, whatever that looks like for people. Not a fan of labelling food as bad or good. That's a whole other
It's like a day out of line with your objectives, right?
Yes, correct. Excellent phrasing. So if I've had a day that's out of line with my objective, like, okay, cool, I don't have to wait till Monday to start again. I can restart on Thursday. Like, I can. So I think I've gotten so much better at that. And like, again with the gym thing, I will go and walk. That's fine. Like, I'm still going to the thing and doing the thing. And I'm doing what feels right for my mental health and my physical health. Because in my eyes, they're the same amount of importance.
In like a gym context, again, just because that's how, like, that's the context I've mostly heard it in. Is like, I'm like you're saying, I'm either gonna work out for 4 hours straight and I'm gonna do it 6 times a week, or what's the point?
Whereas I'll go to a Zumba session and be like, do I want to lift some weights afterwards? And then I'll walk out and I'll be like, I could do that. I've got time, actually. I feel fine, I can do that. Or I'll be like, no, I've got to go do these dishes. I've got to go hoover something, like, you know, and I've got, like, my priorities are very, they're very changeable. I don't have, like, a really strict all or nothing. This is my life, this is my priority, this is, like... So I guess with all or nothing as well, when it comes to priorities, I don't really have like a list of what my priority is. It changes quite constantly, which might not be a good thing. It might be a good thing. I don't know.
I'm not sure I've ever really thought about it that rigidly. In terms of like priorities.
I guess the nature of priorities is they change. It's like I was saying to you the other day in work. you can't have like
not
10
everything can be a priority.
projects and they can't all be a priority.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how priorities work.
Yeah.
I think mindset's a really good point when it comes to work versus rest, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it can be like a whole day, can't it? It can be like, well, I need to rest, so I'm just going to stay on the sofa all day.
Yeah.
Like, that then actually, for some people it might work, but like, for me, I wouldn't feel good after that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel rested.
Yeah.
I'd probably feel a bit worse.
And I guess that's where it's like, it comes back to that definition of rest, doesn't it? Because it's like, well, that's not, if you're going to feel worse, that's not actually rest, is it? Because it's not doing anything for you.
Should we talk through some rest, things people do for rest?
Yeah.
Give people ideas?
Yeah.
Because it can be a bit like, sometimes it's a struggle to know.
Oh yeah, 100%.
What to do as a
Yeah.
rest. So one of them could be like connecting to nature.
Yeah.
Some people find that super restful.
I literally walked up mountains recently and like it was beautiful and like honestly and I guess this is the thing, isn't it? It wasn't physically restful, obviously. It was quite physically hard. But like in my soul and in my heart and in my mind, it was restful. And I completely get that for some people they'll be like, what? That makes no sense.
Well, for me, I'd be like, right, ticked off the list, I climbed a hill or mountain. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. Whereas, like, sitting in my garden,
Yeah.
listening to some birds,
Yeah.
that'd be more restful for me.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think. Because that would feel like a chore to me, probably, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe
Whereas
that's the difference.
and I think
Whereas
that's
you
the
enjoy
thing.
it,
For
don't
me,
you?
it's a choice, and I want to do that.
And both is normal. Both is okay.
I think like creative stuff is also often really restful for people. So
let's list some.
Um,
We've got painting, we've got like watercolours, we've got acrylics, we've got
colouring,
abstract, we've got, you can do a paint by numbers, sticker books are a thing now, you can do like sticker books, you could do crochet, you could do knitting, you could do embroidery, you could do
drawing, journaling.
Drawing, journaling, colouring, stained glass windowing,
love that.
pottery,
Glass blowing.
painting pottery.
Literally just
all available at places probably not near you.
Yeah, but I guess music as well.
Yeah.
Like
Doodles.
I guess in that it's about expressing yourself, isn't it? So there's rest to be found in getting stuff out of your head and also just I do find like the repetitive nature of a lot of creative stuff, like crochet, like colouring, like whatever, just kind of it, like you were saying earlier, it's just really mindful, isn't it? And it does kind of switch different parts of your brain off.
Because that's it, it's enough to keep you engaged. You
Yeah.
have to concentrate to a certain level.
Yeah.
But not to the point where you're like freaking out.
Yeah.
Do you mean like?
Yeah. It's not like difficult.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it can be, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely can. I get so angry if I choose the wrong colour, I can't lie. But yeah, so I think rest is basically, to me, something that's not pressurised. So like going for a walk that's pressurised, so I've got something to do after it, like that's not restful. Whereas if I'm just like meandering around the place, that's restful.
Yeah.
Some people find like shopping really restful. I find it super stressful. Just quite overstimulating. I guess some people find like sport. So like, I'm not gonna list a bunch of sports. I think people know what sports are.
I know this is a really obvious one, but I think it gets overlooked. But sleep.
Yeah.
Like actual literal sleep.
Yeah.
Whether that's, giving yourself like a lie-in or also just having a nap. Like sometimes our bodies literally just need to charge a bit and sleep does that.
Yeah.
For us. I guess that's also another like sensory rest. Do you know what I mean?
I just was like, what if we're not recording? We're like, just like an hour in, and I'm like,
oh my gosh.
are we recording?
I think we are.
Sensory rest.
Like sensory rest. So sometimes I've noticed recently that sometimes my automatic response is to put music on or put a podcast on or put an audiobook on or something because that's like habit. But then I'm like,
Let me
too
hear
much.
something other than my
Like,
internal
it's
monologue.
Whereas actually I found that sometimes just just being in quiet and just letting myself exist in a quiet space is really restful for me, because it like takes away some of that noise.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe some people find stuff like having a bath also in a similar way, resting in like a senses way.
And even so, for example, listening to a podcast, like just doing that lying down.
Yeah.
Like I literally walked into the house earlier and you were just lying on the lounge floor. Like, because I'm like, oh, well, I'll put a podcast so I can clean, or like I'll put, But actually, like, maybe just allowing yourself, you don't have to do 3 tasks at once.
Yeah.
Like, just focusing on the one task is almost a rest in a way. Because I can actually allow myself to focus fully and, like, embed myself in that moment.
Yeah. It's funny, because I'm just thinking about, like, why do people... Because I often hear people say, in lots of different contexts, I often hear people say, oh, but I just don't have time to rest, or I could never because I've got too much to do kind of vibe. I think that's really interesting, because I completely understand that perspective, but I'm just thinking about, like, I guess there's a question to be asked there of why. Like, why do you not have time, or why
do you think it's not a priority?
Yeah. And like, I think sometimes our culture gets a bit braggy about, I was up till 5 a.m. Like, do you know, like in uni, I was up till 5 a.m. finishing my essay, and someone else is like, well, I was up to 7 a.m. finishing mine, or whatever. It's like, who's more important because they got more stuff to do?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Why is negativity our go-to? Like, why is...
I wonder if people just think it's more interesting.
Yeah, you might be right.
Because saying, oh, I've had a lovely day, there were some really beautiful flowers outside, does that come across as like superficial? A bit
maybe.
Fake? A bit like, what was the response to that? Oh, okay. There's no like attention to give.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas I guess maybe if it's like, oh, well, this happened and that happened or whatever, that encourages like, oh, no way, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you get attention for it.
Might be like a learned behaviour of like, I elicit care if I...
Yeah, maybe.
Just spreads out. Because it is infectious. Like, I would like to think I'm sometimes a positive person. And then... but then, like...
Strong words. I would like to think, caveat, not sometimes, caveat.
I can be caveat.
Vaguely caveat. More positive person. Caveat.
Caveat. I love a caveat, me.
You like to think that sometimes you're a positive person. It's contagious, is what you said.
Yeah, but then I walk into a room and it's full of negativity, and I'm like, I'm only one person, and one person can change an environment. But like, if I'm not practicing positivity continuously, it's really easy to be like, yeah, and then this happened, and all this bad stuff, bad stuff. Maybe it is the interesting thing.
And maybe if you are positive, it's a bit of a like, oh, that's cheesy, eye roll reaction. Yeah. Which we don't, like, none of us want to be dismissed in that way, do we?
It's interesting.
But I think also, I guess this is where we have to be careful, isn't it? Because sometimes more often than not, those experiences are genuine. People have had stuff go on in their day that they are genuinely upset about, or whatever. So it's almost like recognising that, like, that you have a choice about which you focus on. Do you know what I mean? Because I wouldn't want people listening to feel like, but that is my genuine experience and I'm just being honest about it. We notice the negative stuff more, don't we?
Yeah, and that's our brain trying to protect us, and if you notice a negative, then it can predict the future and stop negatives happening so much. Rah, rah, rah. Stupid brain, doing stupid things.
But
I just want to see the pretty butterfly.
But I guess that pulls us back to what rest looks like, because rest can
Noticing
be
the butterflies.
about being mindful and like choosing to notice.
Oh yeah, we didn't finish our list.
Like choosing to observe stuff around you and actually notice what your context is. Yeah. Have you heard the you heard the thing about going for a colour run or going for a colour walk?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell the listeners that?
The idea is that like you choose a colour before you go out.
Yeah.
And then you like follow that colour. So like
Oh, I just heard like notice that colour. I don't actually follow it.
where I've seen it is mainly to do with runs, but like the idea is that you leave your house, choose a colour, you're like, I'm gonna go with blue or whatever. You see a blue sign, so you run towards the blue sign. Then you know it's a blue car parked over the road, so you run towards the blue car. Then in the distance there's a blue flower, so you run towards the blue flower. So like it's
It'd be a really long run if you saw a river, wouldn't it?
I'm gonna be running forever. Gets to the sea. I'm still going.
Forrest Gump on crack.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have chosen blue.
No, blue's beautiful.
But yeah,
But
I love
wonderful mindfulness activity.
100%.
About like, yes, like some people find like activities fun doing like bowling, cinema.
I do genuinely think that your definition of something without pressure
Yeah, I really
is really helpful.
Yeah.
Because like I said, for me climbing a mountain was restful in a way. And I guess that's the other thing. Rest can be different categories, can't be? It can be spiritual, physical, mental, emotional.
Yeah.
If I'd gone and climbed that mountain but was under pressure to do it within 3 hours or something stupid,
Yeah.
then like that's not restful.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But it was done in such a like mindful context that I was like observing my surroundings and connecting with nature and whatever.
I will spend a whole day literally meandering around the house.
Yeah.
Like I won't even sit. I'll be like just potching, meandering around. Meandering's not a thing. You know what I mean?
Meandering.
Yeah.
But yeah, but, you know what? I like meandering more.
Meandering, which does fit our personalities quite well. And I'll just I'll complete a little task. I'll do a little DIY. I mean, at the same time, starting 3 other things, and I'll eventually go back around. And I love cleaning at that point.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm just botching cleaning, a little bit of here and there, a little bit of this, that. Oh, repot a plant here. You know.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da. I literally feel like an 8-year-old, in a retirement home at that point. But do you know what I mean? Because I'm literally I'm moving I'm moving at the speed of I don't know a slug meandering through mud.
No, but I think there's a childlike play in that, isn't there? Just following a whim.
Yeah.
I fancy looking at this book now, and now I'm gonna. Oh, actually, that reminds me. I've got this pillow I need to fix. But you're just letting yourself exist, aren't you? Without any pressure of an outcome or.
Whereas if I had a dentist appointment at 3:00 that day, day's gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Waiting mode.
I'm literally sat there is it yet? Is it now? What's traffic like? We're gonna go? What's parking like? Oh.
And then I'll still be late.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a different conversation.
With a therapist of a neurodiversity type. Well, literally anything we ever say feel cohesive. Probably not.
But genuinely, I think that just again speaks to the fact that there's so many variables that the baseline is it's
Chunky.
very normal to not know. Chunky.
No, junkie. Baseline junkie.
What?
Baseline junkie.
Oh.
I don't need no. You can keep your ketamine.
I thought I was literally just talking and you're just chunky. I was like, okay.
I'm a baseline junkie. I am a baseline junkie. We're gonna have to do morning podcasts. I can't cope.
I think the fact that this has been a little bit chaotic and a bit all over the place does genuinely just show that there's so many moving parts, aren't there? There's so many variables that it is impossible to be this is how it always is in every scenario. This is the answer, because there is no answer.
But there is no right and wrong.
No, exactly. It's
There's just being kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And also disciplined.
Yeah.
Good luck getting the balance.
And sometimes being kind to yourself is being disciplined.
Oh, good one. Yeah.
Thanks. It's definitely normal to struggle to find the line between.
And
when
also,
we should rest and when
it
we should
changes
work.
all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So like that balance will change throughout your life.
Yeah,
Whatever season you're in, like being in school or, you know, being older but single and free, but being, you know, married with kids, or being retired, or being, you know, there's lots of like that will always change.
For sure.
In different seasons, which is why it's about learning yourself.
Yeah, and how to listen to yourself.
Yeah, how to listen to yourself and what works for yourself, because that you can maintain throughout your life. Like things will change and ebb and flow a bit, but like that can stay the same kind of. That can be consistent of like, how do I listen to myself? How do I learn what my body needs, what my mind needs, and how do I provide that for myself? So although the circumstances of life will change, them sort of values probably won't that much, or them sort of skills.
And like, I guess the responsibilities and the structures that all exists within also flex and change and shape how much like agency you have over making those decisions. Because also, like, I completely see that if you're a parent and you've got a newborn and you wake up in the middle of the night because your baby's screaming and you have to feed them, you might feel like resting and you might know that your body needs rest, but ultimately in that moment the responsibility outweighs any, like, do you know what I mean? So I guess that's also like,
but you can still do practices while feeding the baby. Like you can still do like a gratitude or mindfulness while but it's fit, like that's what I mean. So like you can know, I'm someone who mindfulness really helps, or gratitude really helps. So at 3 a.m. when I'm holding my baby and I want to sleep, I know that gratitude helps. Okay, let me name 3 things that I love about this baby, or let me name 3 things that I like in this room. Or, you know.
And that's what I mean, it's figuring out how that fits into the structures and the responsibilities that already exist in your particular season of life, because those will look different. And like you just, like, that's a really good example of like, just because you can't hit one type of rest, you might be able to hit a different type of rest and balance those things out. But yeah, that was a little bit all over the place. But
as is our lives.
But I think that, you know, makes complete sense.
You're normal because no one is. And you're not alone in that. I haven't felt particularly normal this evening.
Me neither.
Or all day, actually. We both cried at different points of the day. And that is normal.
If you have any other questions that you'd
Queries
like
or concerns
us to chat about, you can send them to us and we will look at them and maybe respond.
At the Is It Normal Podcast @gmail.com.
Yes.
Or at the Is It Normal Podcast on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube.